This is the story of Su Yang, an average nobody who wakes up one day to find that his favorite game has turned into reality, and every human is now busy switching classes like it's a seasonal fashion trend. While everyone else struggles to survive as low-tier warriors and mages, Su Yang casually unlocks something completely illegal. He discovers that he can jump straight into the body of a level 99 Black Dragon boss, the legendary Athos, a walking apocalypse with wings and an attitude problem. The very first time he logs into this oversized lizard body, a top-ranked A-level guild blocks his path, fully geared, fully confident, and fully unaware they are about to be deleted from existence. Su Yang does not negotiate. He simply exhales a mouthful of Black Dragon fire, and the battlefield turns into free experience points. 1 second later, the system screams that the Spirit Hunt Guild has been wiped out. His experience bar explodes past sanity, and legendary loot rains down like it's a clearance sale from hell. From that moment on, things stop making sense in the best way possible. The Black Dragon boss keeps evolving, casually jumping from level 99 to something closer to a level 999 Abyss Lord. Su Yang slowly realizes that the word balance no longer applies to him. While others grind for survival, he grinds reality itself. Then, just to flex on fate, Su Yang challenges the Dragon Boss directly and turns it into his personal pet. Before anyone can recover from that shock, the system drops another bomb. He now has access to the body of a demon god, the Supreme Lord of Original Sin himself. Naturally, Su Yang looks at this cosmic embodiment of evil and thinks only one thing: he wants to tame it too. To pull that off, he needs divine sin artifacts, which means hunting down the minions of the Supreme Lord one by one. The funny part is that he does all this while already possessing the Supreme Lord's body, turning every so-called life-or-death battle into a one-sided bullying session. Of course, power like this attracts attention. Enemies pile up fast. Arrogant human factions start trembling, and the Elf Queen steps forward as his most dangerous opponent. But for Su Yang, it's all just another day of farming bosses, breaking systems, and proving that when the game becomes reality, he is the cheat code no one asked for, but everyone has to deal with. Right now, Su Yang, seated upon the throne in the body of the Supreme Lord of Original Sin, is quietly surveying the vast throne room as a holographic figure kneels before him. The figure belongs to Chloris Savalaya, the goddess of growth. He asks whether she has truly never encountered Corrector before. Chloris lowers her head without hesitation and answers with sincerity. She explains that she holds no memory of such a being and would never dare conceal the truth from him. She suggests that the other version of herself, a doppelganger bound to the sacred tree, may have secretly taken fragments of her memories. The Supreme Lord of Original Sin listens in silence, but doubt stirs within him. The excuse of amnesia feels foolish, but then his thoughts drift towards the massive sacred tree looming over the elf world, and he begins to suspect that something far more intricate is unfolding within its roots. With his gaze fixed on Chloris, he calmly asks what benefit he would gain if he chose to assist her. Chloris answers immediately and offers to sign a divine contract. Through it, she would become his subordinate and rule the elf world in his name. She further promises that 70% of all faith power she gathers will be delivered to the Supreme Lord of Original Sin. The offer triggers suspicion rather than satisfaction. The Supreme Lord wonders if such generosity hides manipulation. He coldly reminds her that once he recovers his full strength, devouring her entire world would be effortless. Helping her would be unnecessary. Chloris remains composed. She explains that she understands his condition clearly. At this moment, he is extremely weak. Though he may regain divinity, true divine power will remain out of reach in his current state. In this condition, she states, even the Supreme Lord of Original Sin would be unable to defeat the sacred tree. He senses a veiled threat. Chloris quickly corrects him. She claims she is not threatening him, only stating facts. If he were to fall, the entire Abyss Nation would be offered as a sacrifice to the Mother Tree. She urges him to consider his choice carefully. Unease settles into his thoughts. If his condition is truly so fragile, he wonders what one-third recovery truly signifies. After a brief pause, he asks how much power Chloris still possesses and what must be done to destroy the mother tree. Chloris reveals that nearly all her strength has been drained by the mother tree. Only her divine authority over realms remains. She can no longer wield true power. However, she has secretly nurtured the cult of original sin throughout the elf world, and when sufficient faith is gathered, she can open a path for the Supreme Lord of original sin to descend fully into the realm. She begs him that when that moment arrives, he must destroy the mother tree without hesitation. The Supreme Lord questions whether crushing the mother tree is truly that simple. Chloris admits it will not be easy as her remaining power is fading rapidly. She asks whether the Supreme Lord of original sin is willing to grant her salvation. If he agrees, she will offer her divine contract. After a moment of silence, the Supreme Lord of original sin accepts the contract. Chloris bows deeply and thanks him for granting her salvation. For the first time, Su-young feels the true weight of a divine contract. It leaves no room for deception or loopholes. He wonders whether such contracts themselves are a form of rule-based power. He reads the contents carefully. The contract states that Chloris Savalaya willingly becomes his vassal, ruling the elf realm in his name. She must offer 70% of her faith power every moon cycle and assist him in slaying the false god within the sacred tree. Another clause makes her sincerity unmistakable. It states that as the greater god, the Supreme Lord of original sin can revoke the contract at any time. Su-young notices the absence of his signature and wonders whether he must sign it himself. However, once he does, the contract activates instantly. Yet confusion rises again. The title Supreme King of Original Sin overlaps with one of his own. He wonders whether this overlap could cause a system conflict or perhaps allow him to gain power without cost. Unable to understand it, he decides to seek clarification from a higher authority. He summons Lucifer and questions her about the nature of divinity. She bows and explains that their authority is granted by him. Without the ability to condense divine power, the concept of divinity itself cannot exist. Su-young struggles to conceal his ignorance and claims he has only recently awakened from a long slumber, leaving his memories unclear. Lucifer feels ashamed for failing to notice his condition and begs for punishment. He dismisses her concern and forgives her calmly. Relief washes over him as he reflects inwardly that he nearly exposed himself. He realizes that beings beyond the ninth turn are only barely considered gods. Even someone as powerful as Lucifer still falls far short of a true god. Chloris's warning suddenly feels very real. Carelessness in the elf world could lead to his death. With the situation clarified, he decides it's time to continue advancing the reverse sin divine artifact. The next second, dark energy gathers in his palm, swirling violently before spreading through the throne room. It converges upon the empty seat of the Lord of Greed. With a commanding presence, he orders Mammon to rise. The dark energy takes shape and Mammon, the Lord of Greed, is resurrected. Mammon kneels immediately, offering praise and reverence to the Supreme Lord of Original Sin.
Su-young checks Mammon's information through the system. Mammon is revealed as one of the lords of original sin, possessing demigod-tier strength, and his authority allows him to destroy one item from his own treasury and plunder an item of equal rank from his target. Su-young reflects that Mammon once guarded the 200th floor, and while his combat strength may be weaker than Samael's, his spirit attribute is astonishingly high, nearly 300,000. Mammon awaits orders, pledging absolute loyalty. The Supreme Lord of Original Sin commands him to open his treasury. Mammon obeys instantly, and the next moment, a vault opens, unleashing a blinding golden glow. Mountains of gold and countless treasures fill the space beyond. With utmost respect, Mammon welcomes his lord inside and declares that he may take anything he desires. Su-young, aka the Supreme Lord of Original Sin, enters the vast treasure vault together with Mammon. Endless piles of gold stretch across the space, mixed with glowing artifacts and rare equipment that radiate powerful auras. The vault feels like a condensed history of greed and plunder. Mammon, following closely behind, cautiously asks what kind of treasure his king desires and whether he should make a recommendation. Su Yang shows no interest in guidance. He calmly states that no suggestion is needed and that he will choose for himself. He walks deeper into the vault, and his gaze sweeps across countless weapons and armors. Most of them are blazing sun-tier or glorious moon-tier treasures that Mammon has accumulated over an extremely long time. For ordinary awakeners, any single item here would be enough to change their fate. For Su Yang, however, these items hold little value at his current level. Just then, he stops as a strange ring catches his attention. He points toward it and orders Mammon to bring it over. Mammon immediately complies. He praises the Supreme Lord of Original Sin's judgment and explains that this is a demigod artifact known as the Gift of Nothingness. Its true form, he adds, can only be perceived under a god's gaze. Mammon carefully explains its abilities. The first ability, Walk of Nothingness, allows the wearer to enter a state of absolute nothingness. In this state, the user becomes completely invisible and cannot be sensed by skills or detection abilities. Detection only becomes possible once the wearer launches an attack. The effect only fails if the enemy's base spirit exceeds 1.5 times that of the wearer.
This ability consumes 1,000 mana points per second. The second ability, Veil of Nothingness, pushes the wearer into an even deeper nothingness state. In this state, the wearer cannot be targeted and is immune to damage waves, rendering them untouchable for the duration. However, this effect only works against targets below the divine tier and consumes 200,000 mana points per second. The Supreme Lord of Original Sin places the ring on his finger and quickly calculates his own attributes. With a base spirit of 54,000, he fully meets the requirements. With his current mana pool, he can maintain Walk of Nothingness for 30 minutes and activate the Forced Nothingness state for 8 seconds. The artifact perfectly suits stealth assassination and survival. To him, it is an exceptional gain. Mammon expresses his honor at serving such a king and asks if anything else is required. The Supreme Lord of Original Sin shakes his head and states that Mammon's value ends here. Fear spreads across Mammon's expression. Having just been resurrected, he does not understand why he is about to be killed again. The Supreme Lord of Original Sin answers calmly that Mammon must return to the darkness and merge into his strength until the time comes to be summoned once more. Mammon does not resist. He remains motionless as dark energy condenses in the Supreme Lord of Original Sin's palm. The energy surges forward and drains Mammon's life completely. In an instant, Mammon dies. Coins scatter across the ground, accompanied by system rewards. Su Yang's level rises rapidly, jumping from 202 to 217. He gains the flesh essence of the Lord of Sin, which increases spirit by 1 when consumed. He also obtains the source of the Demon of Greed, granting immunity to demonic corrosion on the 200th floor, and the Mnemonic Eye of Greed, which boosts luck and increases the chance of rare drops. Despite these gains, he feels underwhelmed. Su Yang stares at the system screen and feels the rewards are underwhelming. 15 levels feel slow, and the absence of a sin reversal artifact is disappointing. Worse still, his dark origin power has fallen to 1/3, making it impossible to resurrect another Original Sin king for the time being. Still, he knows another way to gain experience. Later, he uses one of his remaining dark origin powers to instantly kill an 8th-tier archdemon deep within the abyss. The kill grants over 10 billion experience points, raising his level from 217 to 227. Afterwards, back into his own body, he sits down and drinks a dark potion to restore his energy. He reflects that his spirit has reached 70,000 points. Combined with the boost from Reaper mode, even a 9th-turn demigod-tier mage would struggle to detect him through stealth. Now stronger than before, his thoughts shift to his next target, that idiot Tokugawa Muneyasu. He reflects that he has already executed a Tar and a Mino, and he decides Tokugawa will soon follow. He feels no mercy towards those who have betrayed him or plotted against his rise.
Meanwhile, panic grips Saruka Nation. Lord Tokugawa is sitting in his chamber, rage boiling over after receiving news that the Lord of Wrath has been defeated by an unknown force. He slams his fist against the table, curses filling from him as his losses pile up. Moreover, he has already died 3 times at the hands of this unknown enemy and the Lords of Sin, and with every resurrection, his own levels have been ruthlessly stripped away. Frustrated and furious, he thinks of Long Shai. Despite years spent manipulating the elves to oppose Long Shai, everything has unraveled. After Lucifer attacked the elf delegation in Long Shai, the elves did not retaliate. Instead, they chose reconciliation and even granted Long Shai access to high-tier secret reams. Plus, his rival, Tang Zhan, survived once again, and he continues to grow stronger. All this is driving Tokugawa closer to madness. While all these thoughts consume him, a subordinate requests to enter his chamber. Tokugawa orders him inside. The subordinate kneels and reports the appearance of a new high-tier secret ream at the border between Saruka Nation and Long Shai Nation. Investigation confirms that it contains a demigod-tier boss. Tokugawa immediately opens his system screen and asks where the ream is located exactly. The subordinate explains that it lies exactly between the 2 nations, though slightly closer to Long Shai. The moment Tokugawa hears this, a dangerous opportunity forms in his mind. With Long Shai's strongest forces currently absent in the elf world, Saruka might be able to seize the secret ream for itself, even if it technically leans towards Long Shai territory. For Tokugawa, this ream may be the chance he desperately needs to turn his misfortune around.
And that's all for today. If you'd like us to continue this manhwa, leave a comment and please subscribe to the channel to support us. We'll see you in the next video.